Let's talk about the serve and what it is we're doing and how we're going to do it. Obviously, we're still playing doubles here. We're going to say this is the, again, intermediate level, so 3-5-ish to 4-0 or 4-5-ish. And to keep it simple, we're going to say everybody's right-handed on the court. So the first question is, what are we doing? Well, your goal really, just like it is when you're playing, is to set your partner at the net. We're using the serve now as the setting tool. We want to keep a minimum, let me stress this, a minimum of 6 out of 10 first serves. That's 60% for you math whizzes. 60%, the reason is the ball's coming back. This is the key assumption of a tennis player. The ball is always coming back. So if you're like many intermediate players where you bang your first serve, get about 10% of them in, and just get every second serve in, that means that 9 out of 10 times this person knows exactly what's coming. At least when your first serve is going in, they have to give you the possibility you might bang one. Nobody has to give you that on the second serve. So it is crucial. High first serve percentage, it is crucial, especially if you don't want your partner here to be playing from the baseline when you're serving. Next question. Well, how do we do it? First we decide a couple things. We need some metrics that will help us decide where to stand, where we should serve to. We choose our position on the baseline based upon what we know about our opponents and what we know about the range of our partner at the net. So in other words, if my partner here can cover over to here, I would take a diagonal off that. All this is now covered or in the shadow of my partner's coverage. And I'm responsible for roughly this area to somewhere over here. And I choose the position on the baseline that best limits my coverage or puts me closest to the middle of the return angles. So to see it in action, let's say I serve out here wide. The opponent comes over and has these possibilities. They, of course, could hit it here. They don't want to, but they could. So that places, I put the ball in front of my partner, which is a good thing. I have put them in the middle of the return angles, a good thing. I got the ball in, which is a good thing. I did this to the forehand side, which could be a possible problem over here, something to keep our eye on. I'm not responsible for this area here as a server. We, as the server, are responsible for this area over here. You can see that pretty much anything in here my partner's got, and I'm responsible for all this. If I were to go down the middle to this area here, move over and have these right here. Again, I'm not responsible for this, and probably it has to be such a good shot we don't need to worry about it because it's the backhand side, and typically at this level the backhand's weaker than the forehand. And I have this. I've put myself exactly really in the middle of these return angles. So again, ball's pretty much in front of my partner, putting him in these in the at least a third of the return angles, and I've put the ball that gets by my partner right in the middle of my return angles. In this scenario, I'd go 80% here, 20% over here, just to keep them honest or to show that I can do it. And if I get them really fixated on this, this can become the winner because they might adjust over here. They're positioning in between when they're waiting for the serve. Let's move over to the ad side and see what happens over here. So if I serve out wide, move over to play the ball, they're presented with sort of the mirror of these angles here, but it's their backhand side. So this is where we decide, how good is their backhand? Can I go over here a lot more than 20% even though I'm giving these angles away? Do I get a lot of balls here? Am I setting my partner well? It is out in front of them. Is that a really good play for us? Or do we go down the middle here where I'm limiting those return angles even though it is to their forehand side? And this is something you decide based upon what you observe from the returners. In this scenario, if this was working here very well to the backhand side, that ad play, I'd go maybe 50-50 on this side. And if it wasn't, then I'd stick over my 80-20 rule, something that we decide as we go along. One of the things you'll notice as a server is that it's key where the receiving team's partner stands. So if they crowd the middle here to guard against that hitting lane that could open up, if they were to play it over to your partner here, that limits the angles that can be used against you, obviously, into your court, because they don't want to hit their partner in the back. It's kind of frowned upon. So if they crowd in here and you play them down the middle, you're not going to be dealing with anything over here. You're going to be dealing with stuff here, and it may even funnel balls up to your partner at the net. So these are all, it's not only important where they stand, but where their partner stands. And again, your assumption is that it's always coming back. You choose the serve based upon the angles that you'd like to play coming back. It's not perfect world. Balls leak off, there's mishits, there's funny things that happen on the court, but in your mind, you got to have a play in mind. And that play is you're standing here for a reason, we're serving over here for a reason, we're anticipating these things coming back. Now you say, well, that's all well and good, but the problem is I have no idea where my serve's going, where I'm serving. And I think that's probably not true. I think what happens normally, we'll go back over here just to the do side here. Normally what I see is that people are trying to put it on a dime, and they can't, and it gives them the impression that they can't really control their serve. So my recommendation is split the service square in half and just focus on one half or the other. It's frankly, if you look at this right here, it's just as good as if you hit it here as it is if you hit it here or here or here. Since it's coming back, we're not trying at aces. It really doesn't have to be that precise. We just want to be able to say we're going to the backhand or to the forehand and have a good idea as a team what are the return angles that we likely need to guard against. I hope that's helpful. I hope I remembered everything I meant to tell you. And thanks again for your time. Next, we will be talking about the return.